To truly grasp the significance of the Battle of Little Bighorn and why it continues to captivate historians and the public alike, we must go beyond simply recounting dates and movements. We must understand the deeper context, what led to the battle, the motivations of those involved, and the consequences that rippled through history. The battle was not just a skirmish over territory. It was a clash of cultures, values, and survival. The conflict that culminated on June 25, 1876, in Montana's Bighorn River Valley was shaped by a history of broken promises, government encroachments, and Native American resistance to the encroaching tide of settlers and soldiers. The story of Little Bighorn is often framed through the perspective of General George Armstrong Custer, whose name is forever tied to this event. Yet, to only see the battle through Custer's eyes does a disservice to the many other key figures and the complex web of circumstances that define the conflict. We have the legendary Lakota leaders, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, who, along with their allied tribes, orchestrated one of the most significant defeats of U.S. military forces during the Plains Wars. They were not merely defending their land, but their way of life, their freedom, and their very existence. Custer, often portrayed as a reckless, glory-seeking leader, was known for his daring, but also for his miscalculations. The timing of his movements during that day is a topic of much debate among historians. We know that the 7th Cavalry left Busby Camp early that morning, but the precise hour and the decisions that followed remain clouded in uncertainty. The mystery surrounding when Custer split his forces into multiple columns or when he ordered a charge is not just about tactics. It speaks to a broader question of whether he understood the scale of the resistance he was about to face. Was it hubris that led him to underestimate the power and organization of the Lakota, Northern Cheyenne, and Arapaho forces, or was it a calculated risk that spiraled out of control? The importance of timing in the Battle of Little Bighorn is undeniable, but there's an irony in how much weight we now place on these details. In the heat of battle, timing may not have felt as significant to the soldiers engaged in chaotic hand-to-hand combat. It wasn't about the precision of minutes, but about survival. However, for those piecing together the events after the fact, trying to make sense of how and why things unfolded as they did, each minute becomes critical. At what point did Custer realize that he was outnumbered and outmaneuvered? Did he ever have a chance to retreat, or was he doomed from the moment his forces arrived at Halt 1, as some accounts suggest? It's important to remember that many of the reports from that day are conflicting. Some accounts suggest that Custer stayed with his men throughout the battle, while others argue that he broke off to pursue personal glory, rushing ahead of his troops and leaving them vulnerable. The truth is likely somewhere in between, but finding it requires us to sift through a mountain of speculation, eyewitness accounts, and narratives written long after the battle had ended. The story we tell ourselves about Little Bighorn is shaped by these differing perspectives. Some want to see Custer as a hero, valiantly leading his men to the bitter end. Others view him as a foolhardy commander whose arrogance led to unnecessary deaths. But the Battle of Little Bighorn is about more than just Custer. It's about the clash between the U.S. government and the Native American tribes who had lived on these lands for centuries. The battle was the culmination of a long history of broken treaties, forced relocations, and the erosion of native sovereignty. The events leading up to the battle are just as important as the battle itself. Sitting Bull's vision of soldiers falling from the sky, which he had during a sun dance ritual before the battle, was seen as a prophecy by his followers. It galvanized the Lakota and their allies, giving them the confidence to resist the U.S. military's advance. The tribes gathered at the Little Bighorn River knew they were fighting not just for land, but for their survival as a people. One of the most challenging aspects of understanding the Battle of Little Bighorn is reconciling the vastly different perspectives of the participants. For the U.S. soldiers, it was a disastrous defeat, a shocking blow to the government's campaign to subdue the Plains tribes. For the Native Americans, it was a victory that symbolized their resilience and unity in the face of overwhelming odds. However, this victory was short-lived. The U.S. government, shocked by the defeat, redoubled its efforts to crush native resistance, and within a few short years, the tribes who had triumphed at Little Bighorn were forced onto reservations, their way of life irreversibly altered. As we continue to study the Battle of Little Bighorn, we must be careful not to cherry-pick facts that fit a particular narrative. The battle has been romanticized, dramatized, and mythologized over the years, but at its core, it was a tragic event. Custer's last stand, as it is often called, became a symbol of American bravery in the face of savage enemies for some, while for others, it is a symbol of the U.S. government's betrayal and brutality toward Native Americans. The truth is more complex, and it's crucial to consider all sides of the story. In piecing together the events of June 25, 1876, we are confronted with conflicting reports and differing interpretations. For every account that portrays Custer as a heroic figure, there is another that paints him as reckless and foolhardy. For every narrative that focuses on the triumph of the Native American forces, there is another that emphasizes the inevitability of their defeat in the face of U.S. expansion. The real story lies somewhere in between, and it is our responsibility as historians, storytellers, and citizens to engage with these complexities rather than simplify them for the sake of convenience. The Battle of Little Bighorn is often seen as a watershed moment in U.S. history, not because it changed the course of the Plains Wars, but because it exposed the deep contradictions at the heart of American expansionism. The United States was a nation founded on principles of liberty and equality, yet it systematically dispossessed Native Americans of their lands and their rights. The defeat at Little Bighorn was a temporary setback for the U.S. military, but it was a devastating blow to the native tribes, who, despite their victory, would soon face the full force of a government determined to bring them to heel. In the end, the Battle of Little Bighorn is a story about the cost of empire and the resilience of those who resist it. It's about the choices that individuals make in the heat of conflict and the long-term consequences of those choices. Whether we view Custer as a hero or a villain, whether we focus on the tactical details of the battle or the broader historical context, one thing is clear: Little Bighorn was a turning point. It was a moment when two ways of life collided, and the repercussions of that collision are still felt today. As we reflect on the events of that fateful day, it's important to remember that history is not just about dates and battles. It's about people, real people who lived, fought, and died for what they believed in. The soldiers of the 7th Cavalry, the warriors of the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, and the countless others whose lives were affected by the Plains Wars deserve more than just a cursory mention in the annals of history. They deserve to be remembered for the courage they showed and the sacrifices they made, even if those sacrifices were in vain. So, the next time we tell the story of the Battle of Little Bighorn, let's be mindful of the complexities and contradictions that define it. Let's resist the temptation to cherry-pick facts or simplify the narrative. Instead, let's strive to understand the full scope of the battle, the motivations, the mistakes, the victories, and the losses. Only by doing so can we truly honor the memory of those who were there and learn the lessons that history has to teach us. Among those offering valuable insights into historical events, we encounter prominent figures such as George Herendine, Fred Gerard, Luke Hare, Charles Varnum, Edward Godfrey, and Wynne Edgerly, each of whom left an indelible mark on our understanding of pivotal moments in history. Their experiences and accounts have become crucial references for historians and enthusiasts alike, shedding light on the intricacies of the battles they witnessed and the decisions they made in moments of extreme pressure. George Herendine stands out as a figure of particular interest. Known for his keen observational skills and tactical awareness, his recollections provide a detailed picture of battlefield dynamics. He often commented on the morale of the troops and the complex nature of leadership during high-stakes moments. His insights are not just about the physical aspects of battle, but also delve into the emotional and psychological toll of combat, offering a rare glimpse into the human side of warfare. Herendine's reflections have been a point of reference for military strategists looking to understand how soldiers react under pressure. Fred Gerard, a scout with extensive experience, played a vital role in gathering intelligence and navigating the difficult terrain that often determined the outcome of military engagements. Gerard's value lay in his ability to foresee potential dangers, alerting his superiors to impending threats long before they manifested. His contributions went beyond the battlefield, influencing strategic decisions that shaped the course of entire campaigns. Today, his legacy serves as a testament to the importance of scouts and the intelligence they provide in military operations. Luke Hare emerges as another figure whose contributions cannot be overlooked. A man of great resilience and adaptability, Hare's accounts offer a candid look at the harsh realities of military life during tumultuous times. His writings capture the daily struggles of soldiers, from managing scarce resources to dealing with the unpredictability of the enemy. Hare's experiences highlight the importance of discipline and adaptability in the face of overwhelming odds, and his legacy serves as an inspiration for modern military personnel who face similar challenges. Charles Varnum and Edward Godfrey also stand out for their leadership and strategic thinking. Varnum, a skilled cavalry officer, was known for his ability to inspire confidence in his men, even in the most trying circumstances. His tactical decisions during key battles were instrumental in securing victories that might otherwise have been lost. Meanwhile, Godfrey's analytical mind allowed him to see beyond the immediate chaos of battle, making sense of complex situations and devising strategies that maximize the effectiveness of his forces. Together, Varnum and Godfrey represent the best of military leadership: calm under pressure, strategic in their thinking, and unwavering in their commitment to their men. Wynne Edgerly, although perhaps lesser known than his contemporaries, played a critical role in documenting the events that unfolded around him. His writings, while often overshadowed by those of more prominent figures, provide a unique perspective on the personal experiences of soldiers. Edgerly's accounts are filled with vivid descriptions of the battlefield, capturing the sights, sounds, and emotions of the soldiers as they fought for survival. His work serves as a reminder that history is often shaped not just by the leaders and decision-makers, but also by the men on the ground who lived through the events themselves. First Sergeant John Ryan is another enlisted soldier whose contributions have been invaluable to our understanding of military history. Ryan's first-hand accounts offer a rare glimpse into the lives of non-commissioned officers, highlighting the crucial role they play in maintaining order and discipline within the ranks. His leadership and experience were instrumental in keeping his men focused and motivated, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Ryan's legacy is a testament to the importance of strong leadership at all levels of the military hierarchy. Sergeant Ferdinand Culbertson and Private Charles Windolph also played significant roles in shaping our understanding of key battles. Culbertson's bravery and quick thinking in the heat of battle earned him the respect of his peers and superiors alike, while Windolph's perseverance and determination served as an example for his fellow soldiers. Both men exemplified the qualities of courage, loyalty, and dedication that are essential for success in military endeavors. Their stories, though perhaps less well-known than those of their higher-ranking counterparts, are no less important in understanding the full scope of the events they participated in. On the other hand, we have figures like William Morris, Peter Thompson, and Theodore Golden, whose accounts are less reliable but still form part of the historical record. Morris and Thompson, while undoubtedly brave, often allowed personal biases to color their recollections, making it difficult for historians to separate fact from fiction in their narratives. Theodore Golden, in particular, became notorious for his embellishments. While some of his tales contain elements of truth, Golden's penchant for exaggeration means that his accounts must be taken with a grain of salt. Nevertheless, these figures remind us that history is often a mix of fact and interpretation, shaped by the personal experiences and motivations of those who lived it. Lieutenant Carlo Di Rudio presents a more complicated case. While his reports are often detailed and informative, they require careful consideration. Di Rudio's tendency to paint himself in a favorable light, sometimes at the expense of his comrades, suggests that his accounts were influenced by a desire for self-preservation. Nevertheless, His perspective offers valuable insights into the inner workings of military leadership and the personal struggles of those in command. Finally, Fred Benteen remains one of the most polarizing figures in military history. His role in key battles has sparked intense debate among historians, with some viewing him as a hero and others as a controversial figure whose actions or inactions had significant consequences. Benteen's decisions, particularly during moments of crisis, continue to be scrutinized by those seeking to understand the complexities of leadership and the moral dilemmas faced by soldiers in the heat of battle. In conclusion, the contributions of these men, both leaders and enlisted soldiers, have provided invaluable insights into military history. From the tactical brilliance of figures like Varnum and Godfrey to the courage and determination of men like Ryan and Windolf, their stories serve as a reminder of the bravery, resilience, and complexity of those who have served in the military. At the same time, figures like Golden and Di Rudio remind us that history is not always straightforward, and that personal motivations can often influence how events are remembered and recorded. Ultimately, it is through the careful study of these diverse perspectives that we gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of war and the men who fought in it. Their legacies continue to shape our understanding of history, offering lessons in leadership, strategy, and the human spirit that are just as relevant today as they were in their own time. Throughout history, individuals who provide critical insights into pivotal moments often find their contributions either overlooked or hotly debated. One such figure is Major Frederick William Benteen, whose perspective on the infamous Battle of the Little Bighorn has been a topic of significant discussion. While many historians have disregarded his contributions or downplayed his role, I believe Benteen's perspective adds a complex and often underappreciated layer to the event. His voice serves as a counterpoint to the more well-known narrative of General George Armstrong Custer, and when closely examined, it enriches our understanding of what transpired during those fateful days in June 1876. However, not everyone shares this appreciation for Benteen's point of view. Historians like Fred Dustin, for example, were highly skeptical of several accounts that emerged from the battlefield, particularly those of Frederick F. Gerard. Dustin's critiques of Gerard's actions and recollections have fueled considerable debate among scholars, and while I respect Dustin's expertise, I don't entirely agree with his conclusions. Frederick Gerard, the enigmatic interpreter for the Arikara Scouts, is a figure who deserves more attention. He played a crucial yet often overlooked role during the campaign, and his actions on that day have left a lasting impression on how we interpret the battle. Gerard was a fascinating character. At 46 years old, he was one of the oldest men on the campaign, which in itself was a rarity. In a time when many frontiersmen were much younger and in the prime of their physical strength, Gerard's age and experience should have made him a valued member of the team. However, his skills as a frontiersman have been called into question repeatedly. Some historians, most notably James Willard, painted Gerard as impulsive and lacking in experience when it came to Indian warfare. Despite having a life filled with adventure and remarkable encounters on the frontier, Gerard's judgment has been scrutinized heavily. Willard's portrayal of Gerard is particularly harsh. He characterized him as a man whose impulsive nature could have contributed to the devastating defeat of Custer and his men. Willard went as far as to claim that Gerard's report to Custer, stating that the Native American forces were not fleeing but were in fact preparing for battle, was one of the key factors that led to Custer's demise. It's a bold statement, but surprisingly, it holds a significant degree of truth when we look at the broader context of the battle and the uncertain timeline of Gerard's observations. At a critical moment in the battle, Gerard's report took precedence, even over that of seasoned scouts who had been with Custer for far longer. This decision to prioritize Gerard's observations over those of more experienced individuals has been one of the most controversial aspects of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Was Custer misled by Gerard's report, or was Gerard simply misinterpreting the situation? The answer is elusive, but what we do know is that Gerard's account undeniably influenced Custer's actions. Some might argue that this influence directly contributed to the disastrous outcome of the battle. But to simply dismiss Gerard as an impulsive and inexperienced frontiersman, as Willard does, is to overlook the intricacies of his character and the nuanced role he played. Gerard was no stranger to the hardships of life on the frontier. He had spent years navigating the complex relationships between Native American tribes and the U.S. military, acting as a bridge between two very different worlds. His experiences should have equipped him with the insight needed to provide accurate reports, yet something went awry during that critical moment. What makes Gerard's role even more intriguing is how it has divided historians. Some view him as a tragic figure whose well-intentioned report was misinterpreted, leading to catastrophic consequences. Others, like Willard, see him as a reckless individual whose lack of understanding of Indian warfare had dire repercussions. However, the truth likely lies somewhere in between. Gerard was a man shaped by his experiences, and like all of us, he was fallible. Yet, it is undeniable that his report changed the course of history. Interestingly, Gerard's age and experience have been points of both admiration and skepticism. At 46, he was older than most of his fellow soldiers and scouts, which should have afforded him a level of respect. However, his age also led some to question whether he was still physically capable of handling the rigors of battle and frontier life. Despite these doubts, Gerard had survived countless encounters on the frontier, earning a reputation as a seasoned interpreter and scout. His ability to speak multiple Native American languages, including Arikara, made him an invaluable asset to Custer's campaign. Still, his life of adventure and danger may have also clouded his judgment when it mattered most. The more we delve into Gerard's life, the more complex and enigmatic he becomes. He was a man of contradictions, an experienced frontiersman whose skills were questioned, an interpreter whose words carried enormous weight, and a key player in one of the most famous battles in American history, yet one whose role is often overshadowed by more prominent figures. Gerard's contributions, though controversial, cannot be dismissed outright. His report to Custer was undoubtedly pivotal, and while it may have contributed to the defeat, it also sheds light on the uncertainty and chaos that defined the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Moreover, Gerard's story speaks to the broader theme of how history is shaped by the accounts of individuals. The way we interpret events often depends on whose version of the story we believe. In Gerard's case, his account of what happened that day has been both vilified and defended, creating a complex narrative that forces us to reconsider what we know about the battle. Was Gerard a scapegoat for Custer's failure, or was he simply a man doing his best under incredibly difficult circumstances? The answer may never be fully known, but the debate continues to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. In conclusion, Frederick F. Gerard's role in the Battle of the Little Bighorn is one that deserves more nuanced consideration. While historians like Fred Dustin and James Willard have cast doubt on his actions, I believe that Gerard's contributions are far more significant than they are often given credit for. His report to Custer, though controversial, was a key moment in the battle, and his life as a frontiersman provides valuable insight into the complexities of Indian warfare and frontier life. Gerard may never be remembered as a hero, but his story adds a rich layer of complexity to our understanding of one of the most famous events in American history. Ultimately, the tale of Frederick Gerard serves as a reminder that history is rarely as clear-cut as we would like it to be. It is shaped by the perspectives and actions of individuals, and in Gerard's case, his role in the Battle of the Little Bighorn continues to spark debate and intrigue. Whether viewed as a flawed yet well-intentioned figure or as a reckless individual who contributed to a tragic defeat, Gerard's legacy remains a testament to the unpredictable and often chaotic nature of history itself. His perspective, like Bentine's, adds a depth to the narrative that forces us to look beyond the more familiar stories and consider the complexities that shaped this pivotal moment in American history.